All right. So welcome everyone to the Snowy Heart painting. This is sponsored by Warminster Library. My name is Anita Thompson. I am a teaching artist in Bucks County, and I service Bucks, Montgomery, let me see, Chester County sometimes. And tonight we will be doing this Snowy Heart painting. It should be about 2 hours long. This is a longer one because we are going to be able to do some detail. This is a 10 by 10 canvas. If you did not pick up the kit and you have your own supplies, that's just fine. We're going to start off with a pencil. We have, you should have some paper towels off to the side so you can wipe your brushes, a small cup of water, and as I mentioned earlier, I like to use a paper plate for a palette unless you have another palette. That's fine too. You just want to be able to have some room in order to mix our colors. We don't do a whole lot of mixing, but we do a bit. Okay, so but our first thing that we're going to do obviously is going to be the drawing. So I'm going to move my paint over to the side. I'm also going to go in a little bit closer with my camera here so that you can see and move up my canvas and just squat that down a little bit. All right, perfect. So as you can see, our gloves take up just about the whole painting. We're going to do a sketch basically of the gloves, the mittens, including the heart, and everything else is painted. So let's get started. Also, this recording will probably be available, I think, by tomorrow. I'll give it to Sabrina, the librarian at Warminster, and she will send it out to all of you. And then you are free to do this again or catch up or whatever you want to do. You can also share it. All right, but we're going to start off with the drawing part. So we're going to start off at the bottom of our canvas. Let me go up a little bit. I think there we are. I was going to say, I don't think you can see the bottom of my canvas. Now you can. We're going to start off with the bottom, and basically we're going to be going upward. So we're going to start off towards the bottom right. And let me move my camera one more time just to make sure you can see it. And we're going to start off on the left side, and we're going to draw this arm first. So if I'm putting my pencil like this, I'm just letting you know. Our arms are going to be slanted, as you can see, right? So that they're kind of slanted in the picture. So we're going to start off with the sleeve. And this again is the bottom of the canvas. And this is the first arm. We're also going to draw the cuff. And so we're going to kind of make it a little wiggly on the side, and then also a little wiggly over here, just like a cuff that would be. Like so. And so now it looks like the cuff to a jacket. All right, we're going to keep going now. We're going to go upwards. So now we're going to add the cuff to the mittens and then the actual mittens. So starting off here, and we're going to make this a little bit square shaped. And if you want, you can add some striping like so. And then our glove part is going to be moving upward and then going to the right. going and moving toward the top of our canvas. So, oops, we're going to go upward. Now this is going to be our thumb. Like so. And then you're going to draw your mitten part. Like so. Oh, you know what? Not that far over. Sorry about that. A little bit more like that, because you want to make sure that the heart is going to fall in here. And then you can start to draw the snowy heart in between. Like so. I'm going to make my arm just a little bit thicker here. I'm also just going to fix the finger up here. And then we're going to start the glove to the other hand right up here as well. And that glove is going to kind of go upward a little bit. We can see a little bit of some fingers happening here. And then we're going to come down. Oh yeah, you can see the top of the painting. You mean the original. Is that what you were talking about, Liz? Okay. So, yeah, thank you. So basically, you're going to be going around, back down, and I'm going to put this right on top so that you can still kind of see what I'm doing as well. So we're going to go down, and you're also going to be drawing, this is the cuff of your mittens here, right? Just like we have the other one. And remember, we also have a thumb that is going to be holding on to the snowy heart. So you want to make sure that the thumb is overlapping a little bit of your snowy heart so that it does look like that it's in the palm of your hand. I'm just fixing the fingers up here. They just look like bumps, but they are fingers underneath. And you're going to do the same thing that you've done on the left side, right? We make some separations for your mitten area. And then you're also going to create your sleeve. And that's just going to fill the rest of the painting toward the bottom. So that's going to basically go down to the rest of the painting. Now I made this one a little less thicker, so I'm going to make it a little thicker. So I'm just going to fix that. There we go. And you also want to make sure that the thumb area on the other one is also slightly holding the heart as well. And then just take a look and see how it looks. And what we're now also going to do is draw in the lines for the gloves so that when we start painting, we'll know exactly where to paint. So I'm going to start here on the left side on the thumb. And we want to make sure that the lines that we're doing, we're thinking of this as it is a fuzzy, warm, probably a wool mitten. So we're just making lines to kind of show that. But we want to make sure that those lines are going to go in the direction that the fingers are going to go. So if you notice up at the top here of the mitten, my lines start to kind of curve a little bit. See that? See that one curving? So you want to make sure that they're not just straight. I mean, they're straight for the most part. But when it comes to where the fingers are, it's going to curve because the finger underneath is curving. And we'll talk more about that as we start to paint it. But as you can see, some of my wiggly, they're lines, but they're kind of wiggly. The other thing we're going to do is we're also going to add in some of the sort of striping that happens on the cuff of the jacket. So we kind of do the same thing. Oh, that's what I forgot to add. I forgot to have you guys add the cuff of the jacket over here. So we want to do that as well. I'm looking going, why does this look a little different? That's why, because I forgot to have you guys add that part. Sorry about that. So please add the cuff of the jacket, and then you can add some lines to that as well. We're also going to start to draw in just a little bit of some wrinkling that's happening right where the jacket meets the cuff. So if you see these lines, that's kind of what we're doing. We're kind of drawing in some wrinkling, and we'll make it look more realistic when we put the paint on. But we just want to give ourselves an idea of where that's going to happen so that when we start painting, we don't have to guess. I like to call these things our roadmap. It's like we know where everything is, and then we just have to follow. So just take a look over, make sure you like everything. And our next step is going to be painting the background. The background is a light blue. So everything is in layers. So our background's going to be light blue at first. So I like to use my flat brush for that, meaning the larger brush. You can use a combination of both because you may have to, especially like, in between here, you might have to get into smaller parts, and your smaller brush might be better to do that with. All right, so first step is we are just painting the background in all around light blue. And just take your time. It's kind of like coloring, but we just want to take our time and get a nice light blue background. Later on, we will add snow. But you're going to fill in that background with your light blue. Yeah, Debbie mentioned how her paint was drying, and it's funny that you mentioned that, Debbie, because I was thinking the same thing the other day. Um, I was doing a project of my own, and my paint just kept drying. I left it in my little cupcake cover, and it was dry. And I thought, that's so weird because usually during the summer or the spring, it stays in there and it stays wet until at least the next day, sometimes 3 or 4 days, but not this time. So, yeah, definitely drier air. So you're going to paint the whole background this light blue. And again, just take your time and relax. This part is pretty easy. I think the rest of it's pretty easy too, but this part's really easy. We're just painting one layer. You want to make sure to get right up against your, the arm, because this is your background, and you could go back and, repaint sections of it if you need to, but it's better to get it at this point. Move my painting up a little here. More blue. There we go. Had to just adjust the angle there. So you're going to go all the way up to the top of the painting. Make sure you get the tippy top. And also in between the two mittens as well. And smooth it out. Sometimes I like to add another layer. Sometimes the light blue can be a little see-through, depending on what brand you get. I get a lot of paint from Michaels, and sometimes when I get their brand, and it's um, especially the lighter colors, I feel like you have to apply a second coat. I mean, it's not so bad in this one because it is going to be covered in snow. So, doesn't matter. But I'm just going to get it nice and covered. I'm going to just adjust the lighting in here. There. Felt like there wasn't enough light on the painting, so that's better. Oops, I see a spot that I missed. But when you are ready, take a look over it. Make sure you've pretty much covered it. And our next step is going to be using the dark blue for the, or actually, I'm sorry, no, first, we're actually going to be painting the, um, the heart. And so with that, we're also going to be using blue. And then we're going to be adding white to it so that it looks like it's snow. So we're going to be using that same blue. So the first layer is going to be that light blue. And so for right now, what we're going to do is we're just going to paint the first layer of this snowy heart. We will go back later and add more of the snow because we're going to jump to the red mittens. We want to get in that first layer. Like so. Now, if you want to add a little bit of white, I would suggest adding it kind of in a chunky fashion. So by that, I mean, I'm keeping that light blue on my brush, but on the end of that brush, I'm going to add a little bit of white. And then I'm going to kind of slap it on there, kind of like a little sloppy. But I want the blue to still show. And I want it to be mixed with a little bit of white. That's going to be our first application of this. And we're going to let that sit just so that it's a little bit lighter than our background. And when you're ready, you can rinse your brush. I'll wait for you. I just went a little bit faster, but take your time. The mittens are the most detailed in this painting, which is what we'll be starting next. But take your time with the heart for right now. Again, we'll be going back and we'll be making it look more snow-like. But for now, you just want to add some of that white to the light blue that you've already added. And we'll just leave it at that for now. I'll let everybody finish up this part, and I forgot to grab my tea, so I'm just going to run downstairs and go grab my tea while you guys are finishing up this part. If anyone has to refill their water, sometimes, if you want to get fresh water, you can do that too right now. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so our next step is going to be painting the mittens red. And so we're going to start off with pure red at first. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be painting at the same time red and a mixture of some black. So, or first we're going to start with red and blue, which is going to make purple. So if I can draw your attention to my palette here, we're going to be using the dark blue now. So this is the, regular blue. I'm calling it dark blue because we have a light blue here. I'm going to move my things over here. And we're going to start off with mixing some blue and red together first. So I'm going to take some red from my palette and start to move it out in order to make that. We're going to be making purple. And it's going to be a dark purple. So I'm going to dip my brush in some of that blue, mix it in the red. And again, you don't want to mix it in the entire color red because you're going to be using that for your mitten. But you want to mix up this color because this is the dark color that's going to be in the shadows of the mittens. So again, this color is red and blue, and you're going to get a purple, just like that. You want to mix quite a bit of it too, just in case. So as you can see, it's kind of looking like more of a plum. That's kind of what you want to get, like almost like a plum purple. I've got that up to the screen so you can see. If it's looking too purple, like a little more on like the cherry kind of side, you want to add blue so that it looks more of a dark purple. Now, once you have that, you're going to go in and you're going to start painting the stripes. So what we're doing first is we're going to be painting, and you can switch to your smaller brush if you like, um, the round brush. I tend to do things with the flat brush for the most part. But you're going to make those lines, you're going to paint over them, but you're going to dab them so that they are uneven. So for instance, do you see how they're uneven? You know, I'm not worried about making the line straight because I'm thinking about that this is wool and that basically you're going to see some of this dark purple popping through, but you're also going to see the red part of the mitten popping through. So this is kind of an underlayer before we create the red, you know, the brilliant red that's on the mittens. But first, what we want to do is we're taking this purple and we are painting each of the stripes. Now you're not painting the ones on the jacket, remember, because that's blue. And we'll be doing the same thing there too. But first, you just want to kind of dab at the lines on your mittens. And again, this is with the purple. You can switch to your round brush. I'm kind of dotting it like real close to each other so that you get kind of a chunky line. We did kind of draw it that way, but you want to make sure to do that anyway. And when you are finished with that, you're then going to outline your mittens using this purple. And where you are going to outline is on the left side, the left mitten. You're going to outline against the bottom of the heart. So I'm kind of retracing it with my hand here, showing you. And then also for now, on the thumb, on the top of the thumb. And that's with the purple. When you're done with that, you're also going to trace the line for the other mitten. And again, this is all in purple. So you're going to trace We're eventually going to trace the entire, so, both parts, both mittens, we're going to trace in purple. So, spoiler alert, you can trace both in purple, including the thumb areas. So it's as if you are taking a marker and you're retracing your pencil with the paint. Now on the right side, you're also going to add a bit of a shadow up against the heart. And you can probably see it here. It's just a line going right up against the blue heart for now. You are also going to continue to outline the bottom of your mitten going up against the jacket. So basically, you're kind of outlining everything at this point with the purple for now. This is our another layer. What we're doing is the shadow parts, and then we're going to go on top with the red. And just take your time. Ooh, John Paul, that looks awesome. Nice. That's it. You're also going to make sure you outline above the blue heart when you get to that point. Again, in purple, surrounding your blue heart. This is your background of, the darkest part of your mittens. I have to mix more of this purple. My paint is very much drying out tonight. Okay. Keep going here. Here again, don't forget the top of your mittens here. So everything should be outlined on the mitten side at this point. And we can also do it on the side next to the heart over here on the left. Grab a smaller brush here. My brush was a little thick. So we're going to stick for right now with our smaller brush, unless you feel like you want to use, your flat brush, if you feel like that's easier. But what we're going to do is we're now going to take our red and we're going to paint in between those lines. And it's okay if you get a little bit on those lines. Other cuff. Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you. The other cuff. You do want to paint the other cuff too if you haven't. Thank you, Debbie. Oh my gosh. I would have caught that later on and gone, why does it look so strange? I apologize. I'm off tonight. I feel like I might be getting a cold. I don't even want to say it because I've done really well right so far. Knock on wood here with not getting sick. Thank you for that, Debbie. So make sure you do both cups. Not like me who forgot the other one. But once you have those, you're then going to paint red in between your purple areas. And it's not going to look anything like it so far because we're going to be mixing red and white together to get a little bit more pink. We're going to be mixing a little bit of red and some black to get some darker red. Basically, this is the part that's going to be very detailed. We're going to be mixing lights and some darks. But right now, you just want to get some red in there. And it's okay, as I mentioned, if it goes on top of the purple, because we're going to be coming back and doing a little more to those anyway. We just want to get pretty much the lines in between painted red. And as you can see, I'm not taking my time. I mean, I'm not doing it sloppy, but I'm just getting them filled in because that is just another layer of color. So what we're doing is we are painting in between all of the purple stripes that we created, which those purple stripes are the dark parts or the shadow parts, for the most part, of our wool mittens. So as it stands right now, you should have red and purple mittens. And when you're ready, you can start mixing the next color. And that next color is going to be a lighter red. So it's basically going to be, you're going to pull out some red and move it out into your palette right next to your red. And then you're going to add just a little bit of some blue. And you're going to add the light blue this time. So make sure to rinse out your red from the brush. You're going to get into that light blue that we used. And so now you're going to have kind of like a lightish purple. I guess a lavender. I guess that would be kind of considered a lavender. It's going to look something to the tune like this. It's still red, but it's a little bit more of a lavender red. And now you're going to take that and you're going to start adding it to the bottom where the cuff is. And you may have to lighten it up a bit so that it looks a little more blue or lavender. Should look a little more like this. Like a lavender or like a mauve. And then you're going to go to the bottom of where the cuffs are and you're going to make V's in a row, or I should say on top of each other. So let me see if I can, let me see how this is showing up. I'm going to lighten mine even lighter because it's not showing up on Zoom. You're going to make V's. If you have to add more blue, go ahead and do so. And the way that you want is you want this to be a little bit wet, the paint. So I'm making V's, like a V shape, and you can do it on both cuffs. Now I went and I took my blue, the blue lavender, the blue that was mixed with the red, but it's kind of mauve-like. And we're making V's at the bottom of our cuffs, or it's on our cuffs. You're going to be taking that same color and you're going to dot it in between and on top of the red on your mittens. But it's okay if some red shows. We're going to go back and add more red. But for now, we're using, again, that lavender, which is the combination of blue and red. And you're kind of dotting that color down. So the way that I'm doing it is literally making dots in a row so that I'm mimicking the material by doing that. So I'm going to show that again. I took my lavender and I'm taking my smaller brush and I'm just pressing, and it's like I'm painting it, but I'm painting it not in a line. I'm kind of dotting it on in a row. Some of the bigger parts, like up here where the thumb and this part, you can kind of do a little crisscross pattern, almost like a V, like we were doing. The key is to keep the purple still showing, but it's okay. You know, that purple, the dark plum, that's the shadow part. You want to still keep it showing, but you can go over it a little bit because it's the darker part of your painting. So again, what we do at this point is we take that lavender and we go in between on top of the red, and you still have, you know, the dark purple on there as well in between. But we're going to start making another color, which is going to be a little more red. For some of the little bit darker parts. So first, we add that lavender. And that's what we did. We dotted that lavender in a row as we took our brush in between each of the dark purple areas. So you're doing it on the stripes, sort of like, you know, it's stripy. Because what we're doing with that is, again, we're mimicking the material, you know, the fluffiness of the wool. When you're finished with that part, you're then going to take some red and you're going to mix it again a little bit with into that lavender that you created, but you want the color to be a little more red now. And so when you're ready with that, you're going to then start to go over a little bit of some more spots, but you're going to be now making X's. And you're going to take your paintbrush and you're literally going to be putting it back and forth, and you're doing it in between on the uh you know how we were dotting it before. You're still kind of dotting it, but you're also making X's with this red color. And sometimes you're going to go over the purple part, and that's okay. You still want some of the purple showing. You also don't want the paint to be too thick. You can do a little bit of dotting with this too. Now, this red is going to be in, yeah, you can ask a question, absolutely.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I assume everyone is like up to what you're doing. But if they're not, I think I missed how to make the stripes on the glove. Like it was just going too quickly. I was still like
Oh
dotting
yeah,
my line.
yeah,
So like I did the heart part, the V on the
yep.
cuff, and then I did the dotted lines, and then I think I missed how you made the lines more clearer in the gloves.
Oh,
So like two
sure.
steps back. I'm sorry.
No, no, you please stop me if yeah, no, that's good. Everybody's at probably at different spots.
Okay.
So absolutely. So the part that you're looking for is you said you finished painting the glove red. I mean the gloves red.
Yeah, I did the glove. So I did
Uh-huh.
the V at the bottom of the
Yep.
cuff, and then I did the
Okay.
dotted lines for the whole glove. And then I think there was an instruction for the lines again to do mix a color to make the lines clearer.
Oh, so actually for we mix like it should be a little more like a lavender. So that goes on top of the red. And what it does is you make kind of V's at the bottom of the cuffs. And the way you make that lavender is using the light blue and red
Mhm.
combination.
Yeah, I got that part to make the
Okay.
hearts and the V's. It's just the what comes after that.
Okay. So then you want to add a little bit of red to that lavender.
Okay, got it. That's what I missed.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that for my
It's okay.
misunderstanding.
Thank you.
You're
So add a
welcome.
little bit of red.
You're going to
Okay.
add a little bit of red and then you're going to go on top again and you're just going to make, you're kind of going to make X's. And so it's going to be a combination of color at this point. It's,
Okay.
yeah. And you're going to go in each line and it's going to get a little muddy. It's going to look a little bit muddy, but we want to get that red in.
Thank you.
Sure. And after you're adding that red in, you're going to mix another color, which is going to be red and that purple. So the purple that you already have, you're going to get this other, it's going to be more like a plum, but it's a little more on the red side. Now with this color, we're going to start adding the last of our shadows. And what I mean by that is We're going to first start off at the bottom of our mittens, and we're going to make each part that is the striping. We're going to add a little bit of some of this reddish purple around, kind of like circling around the edges. So basically, it's almost like we're taking each part of the stripes, and I'm just going to go up really close. So see, I'm going here, and I may also add a little bit of this color again on top of the lines. Now, because it's wool, you can make that line a little bit like, almost like you're making an X with a line. And also, remember the bottom part, you're making it a little bit rounded on each corner. Ah, how did you? Oh, you're wondering how I did that part. So this was with red and a little bit of that dark purple. So remember we had that purple over here that we made blue and red from. We take some of our red and mix it on top of that. Now, if you don't have any more of that left, you just mix a little more blue in with that. That's how you're going to get that darkish color. That's like a very dark red, but it's kind of plum. Still on the red side though, as compared to this one that's more of like, I guess that's more of a grape. This is more plum. And with that color, we're going to go back and we're just going to lighten up kind of next to the dark grape color that we made. We're going to add some of that red there and also on the sleeves, on the cuffs, sorry, around the edges of each cuff. Basically, this color is the darker part of around the cuffs. Even though we have a darker part in between the cuffs, we're adding this color as well. So again, this color is a combination of the red and that dark purple. And where you're going to add it is where the dark parts of the cuffs and everything are, but also on the edges of around where each of the cuffs are at the top and at the bottom of those cuffs. Oh, let's see, John Paul. Let me see. Wow, that looks great. Very nice. We're also going to take a bit of that color and we're going to go on the top of the mitten here on the left. And we're just going to add a little bit of that reddish color on top of the mitten. Do you see how I went across the top of the mitten with that red color? There's still a little bit of the blue, the dark blue there. And we're going to do it on the other mitten as well. We can take a little bit of this red too and go into our shadow parts right up against the heart. And then we've got one more final part to our mitten parts. Besides the snow, we're going to add a little bit of that blue, light blue. We're going to use that light blue. And we're going to mix it one more time with a tiny bit of red so that it has that, you may have that color already still. It's like that lavender color. But this is when everything is pretty dry. And we're going to take that lavender color and we're going to go to the top left of our mitten and we're going to make some highlighted part here at the top. So see where I just placed that purple. Also, when you're done with that, you're then going to add a little more blue in with that purple. And you're going to do the same thing at the top of that left mitten. You're going to do it on the one at the right too, and you're kind of going to outline the top of the mitten a little bit with this blue. This is kind of a highlight. So what do you see here? You see where it's like that light blue. That's a combination of the light blue and the lavender that we created. You want to soften up the top part of the mitten. I like to add a few V's on the cuffs again. Now that your paint should be a little more dry, we're now adding some highlights to our mittens. And we want to then start to add some white to our snowy heart. Now, we can add some white, a combination of white and light blue, and then even some flecks of white. But we want to start making it look snowy. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add it to the tip of our light brush, and we're going to start going out of the lines a little bit. See how I'm making it sort of, I want to make it fluffy. I'm taking the white and I'm kind of dotting it on, but I'm dotting it not in dots. So let's see if I can, I'm going to go really close with this. So I'm going to take some of that white and I'm going to add a little bit along the left bottom edge, almost like fur. So I'm going to have a little bit of that white, and along the edges here at the top, I'm going to go a little bit outside the line of the heart so that it looks fluffy. And then kind of how we created the striping for the mittens, I'm kind of dabbing it with the white. Now, if it gets too white, you can go back in and add some of that light blue. It's going to start to look icy, which is what you want. It should look kind of chunky now. Add a little more blue black in, just a little bit. And our next part is going to be our blue sleeves to our jacket. That's the second to the last part. And the way we do this is we are first going to paint it with black and blue. So that dark blue that we have, we're finally going to, we're going to put that on our palette. And we're going to take our black and we're going to mix black and blue together for one of our colors as well. So you can do that now as well. So the two colors we're going to be using for now are black and blue mixed together, and we're using that dark blue, not the light blue. And then we're using the dark blue. I'm going to move this. So that dark blue should be, or I should say the black and the blue combination should be almost like a navy blue, like a dark navy. And we're going to use that as our darker areas of our jacket. And so basically we're going to be outlining in this color. So I'll do it and then let everybody kind of catch up. So again, this color is our shadow color for in between our lines, and also the shadow color for our sleeves. And so it's going to kind of look like that I just outlined in black marker. Now, once you have that, we're going to start using our blue, meaning this blue. And we're going to paint in between, just like we did with the red. We're going to paint in between the black on the entire sleeve, both sleeves. So both sleeves, you want to paint blue in between those, the lines of black that you created. And again, you know, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be real careful because we're going to be mixing two more colors to get some lighter areas for some highlights on these areas. And you want to make sure that your paint is still wet. When you're ready, you're going to mix some of that light blue with the regular blue, and you're going to get a medium blue. And you're going to start to apply that around the tops of the sleeve and a little bit in the rest of it. And also in between each of the separated parts of the cuffs. So basically this is going to be like your second base color. And what you're going to do with this color is this is where you're going to make the puffiness of the jacket look more puffy. So basically taking your time and really outlining the inside of the jacket, but going closer to the black, well, the black and the blue that you made on the outside of the jacket, so that it's kind of combining with the black, the really dark blue that you made with the black and the blue. So see how this is the light blue mixed with the regular blue. This is your medium blue that we mixed. And I'm now going back and just painting into the wet paint so that it kind of mixes in a little bit with the rest that we painted, so that we have a little more of a base color. And you see how the colors are kind of mixing together. Sometimes you have a little bit of some dark blue, and that's what you want. Remember to get that medium blue in between the cuffs. That's going to be your highlight color, is that the light blue, the light to medium blue. And you can go back and make it a little bit lighter by adding a little bit more light blue on your brush. And it's going to look a little bit white, but that's light blue. And you can make your jacket look puffy by going into the tops of the jacket part and kind of making it like swirl, so like kind of like at the top of the jacket parts. You can add a little bit of white if you want to add some. I wouldn't add too much, but here I am adding just a little bit of white on the tip of my brush, just for a little bit of highlight, but just a little bit so that it's kind of mixed in with the blue. Now I'm doing this all again when the paint is wet, so that these colors mix in with a little bit with each other, so that they're not standing out apart so much. And then your final part is going to be making the flecks of the snow, which the flecks of the snow are a combination of using white and the light blue. So for instance, I took some white on the tip of my small brush. Let me move my camera up. And first I'm going to make some dots all over, including on the mittens, on the sleeves. I'm just gonna make dots. And then I'm gonna start making different sizes of snow, right? Big fluffy flakes. But first I'm making little dots. So a little bit on the edge or the tip of my brush here. And you can even press into your canvas a little bit, and you'll get a little bit more of sort of a thicker, fluffier snow. So combination. So see when I press a little on my brush on the side, I get kind of like a piece of snow. So I'm going to change it and do that. But I'm also going to change over to my combination of light blue and white mixed together so that it's a lighter, some light snow. And you're just going to keep dotting around. Lots of flurries. You can make some a little bit closer together. You can keep going when there's hardly any paint on your brush, and you'll get a lighter snowflake. Remember to go all throughout your painting. You can do some flecking if you want. I know Debbie loves to do this, and hers looks so good when she does that. I think she does it with a toothbrush. You get paint on an old toothbrush and you splatter. I'm not going to do that right now, but it looks really good. I actually have a splatter box that I do that. I just get it over all over everything. And since we have carpet in here, um, I use a splatter box. It's looking pretty snowy. Can't wait to see what everybody's looks like. So I'll give it one more minute. I'll wash my brushes. Oh, Tina. Oh, it looks really good. Beautiful. Thank you so much. So good to see you. Mwah. In the meantime, I'm going to put my email in the chat for those that are new. And if you're interested in sending in your picture, and also if you're interested in getting on my newsletter, I create a weekly newsletter, usually on Mondays, but not always. My newsletter this week is coming out on Wednesday. Um, but you can register for more classes like this on there. But how about I stop the recording and we start to show her where, oh my gosh, Michelle and Brielle, wow! That looks amazing. I'm going to stop the recording.